While it's often difficult to find suitable words to react to and describe child abuse in this country, reports of this kind have almost become an everyday phenomenon in the media. Statistics by the South African Police Service show that over 54,000 crimes, that's 54,000 crimes against children were reported in 2010-2011. Around half of them were sexual offences. In light of Child Protection Week, we are now joined by Social Development Minister Bathabile Dlamini, as well as Shaheda Omar, who is the director at the Teddy Bear Clinic. Ladies, good to have you. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
I mean, it's always a difficult subject to talk about, and yet it's a subject that is in desperate need of being spoken about. Minister, we hear numbers like 54,000 crimes against children, half of those sexually related crimes. Why? What is the problem?
The first problem is that, let me start by saying, people who commit these crimes are very close to the children. They are either stepfather, grandfather, brother, uncle, and but very close. And also, the cases, they are not followed properly. And so people get away with murder.
Yeah, and that's reality.
And thirdly, there is always an expectation that government only can handle the cases of child abuse. And when it's not the case, yes, we do have a responsibility, but the people that are better placed to work with the government in fighting child abuse are families who are primary caregivers of the children, the NGOs, community, and the society.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I have to agree with you. I mean, this is an issue that certainly government can talk about, and government needs to have the right things in place, particularly with the justice system, and that's something we'll get to talk about in a short while. But it is within the nucleus of the family. It is parents being aware, responsible for their children, being able to see. I mean, like you're saying, it's close to home. It's uncles, it's aunts, it's whoever that are abusing these children. Do you agree with what the minister has said? It is up to the family nucleus, the parents, to be more vigilant with their children.
Well, I think it's a both-and situation, as the minister has said, that it's a collective responsibility. Together we protect children. But I think if we look back from last Child Protection Week to this Child Protection Week, what has changed? What has changed? The incidence of child abuse continues to is on the increase, the incidence of reporting. We look at poverty, more than 60% of people are living in abject poverty. 1/3 of households where children are victims of abuse are unemployed. So the overcrowding, the poverty, the culture of violence, domestic violence, neighborhood violence, violence just becomes the norm, and it just continues to perpetuate the cycle of abuse. Single parent families, substance abuse, alcohol and drugs, and these all contribute and are risk factors. So what has changed? What for me is of concern is that people are working in silos, in pockets, and therefore we haven't been able to make a shift, a difference in the lives of children. Access to sanitation and water, basic resources like education. Children with disabilities still seem to find challenges in accessing appropriate schooling, are on the waiting lists. So there are so many challenges, even with our criminal justice system. Children continue to be subjected to secondary victimization, where they come into close contact with perpetrators. Cases are prolonged for lengthy periods of time. Police officers do not have access to vehicles to take children to courts for therapy. So the challenges are numerous.
They're
we need to
huge.
work collectively.
Yeah.
This is a both-and responsibility.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, you're bringing so many issues into it. The education system, the criminal justice system, all of these things need to work together to protect our children. Is this the case? I mean, because it just seems that, as Shaheda did say, is that nothing seems to change. Every year, the situation gets worse with more horrific situations. What are these bodies doing to rectify the situation, Minister?
Leanne, I think a lot has changed. The interministerial committee that was formed 3 years ago, which has reported to Cabinet, the council that has been formed again, which brings together all the stakeholders. But again, we have a command center where people that have been abused or who think that they are going to be abused can call, and then the value chain of the departments that deal with the issues of abuse can be conducted. We've trained social workers who are recipients of calls. 2, we have retired social workers who deal with the issues of abuse because they are not easy issues. And then 3, the police stations have desks that the Deputy Minister of Police is responsible for that deal squarely with the issues of violence. But there are other services that are meant for children that the government is bringing forward.
Yeah.
And again, they won't be able to make any difference if they are only expected to be delivered by the government.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. We've just run out of time, and I know this is such a big thing to talk about, but we will invite you back in to just talk a little bit more. But I think we've just touched the surface of this. But most important is 0800 05 5555. Please get hold of that number. That's the SAPS Childline number. If you do need assistance in any form, of course, the Teddy Bear Clinic as well is always there. 011 484 4554. It's Child Protection Week, so this is something we're going to focus in on all week. Ladies, thank you. The Minister of Social Development, Bathabile Dlamini, and the Director of the Teddy Bear Clinic, Shaheda Omar, talking to us here on Morning Live. Quick break.